One of the most important concepts of financial literacy is compounding. Compounding is pretty much the growth or the shrinkage of money based on complicated percentages, which I will go over in the next slide. Like I said, compounding interest is the growth of money using certain percentages, and it's very different from simple interest in that simple interest is the growth from the original amount of money that you invest, whereas compounding interest will first start out like something of simple interest where it will add a certain percentage, but it will continue to add on the new amount after the percentage takes effect. This can hurt or help anyone financially. An example of how powerful compounding is: let's think of a checkerboard with a penny on the first square out of 64. Every time someone slides the penny onto the next square next adjacent to the first square, and so on, into the second square, into the third square, and so on, the amount doubles. As the penny moves on from square to square, it grows by exactly double. So that's about 100% compounding interest per move. So the eventual amount is astonishingly high based on the fact that it compounds using squares, and once you add 0.01 or 1 penny to the 64th power, it will get you the crazy high number of $92 quadrillion, which is the exact amount you would receive if you were promised to have double the amount per move that you have of the penny. Another example, putting it to more of a story format, is if you were to travel through a time warp, and there's just 3 different versions that you go through. Or you could even think of it like a parallel universe where there's a financially educated you, there's an average you, which is you now, or there's a novice you who still needs to learn a little bit of concepts based on financial literacy. Let's say that the first scenario. So the financially educated you goes through a time warp, and they decide during that time passing, you put away, that version of you puts away $1,000 a year for 40 years in a 6% a year account. By the time it compounds every single year, well, in addition to you putting away $1,000 for 40 years straight, you'll end up with about $164,000 in the account. The next step down from you is the average you, in which you put away $1,000 for the first 20 years, but then you decide somewhere in the midpoint that you're going to stop putting away $1,000 because you want to spend it on other things such as nice, cars, clothes, whatever. By the end of that 20 years where your money just sits there, so about $20,000 that you originally put away, you'd make $125,000 just from compounding alone. Then there's the you that doesn't so much understand the concept of compounding. And so instead of being like the average you or the financially educated you, they decide to not put away any money for the first 20 years, but then realize that they must have to do that around the midpoint of 20 years. And so they put away $1,000 with the same compounding interest. And they only end up with $39,000 in the account. So long story short, the moral of the story is really just put away as much money as you possibly can every year into an account that will grow it. Your money will definitely thank you.